Why do you think those divisions exist in this country? Why do you think they're still so deep, so persistent?
Well, I think it's just age-old. There is something going on that doesn't allow it to fully heal. Sometimes it gets better and then it busts apart. But we want to have it get very much better, get unified, and stay together.
That was President Trump just a short time ago in an exclusive interview with NBC's Craig Melvin on the racial divide that he sees in the country. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence of Michigan. She's a member of the Oversight Committee and a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. We've been talking to a lot of members of the Congressional Black Caucus in the last several days, and I'm trying, Congresswoman, thank you for joining us. I'm trying to get to the bottom of where you stand on meeting President Trump and whether or not you have a position on whether Steve Bannon attends that meeting.
Thank you so much for having me. I want to say that the visit that our president just took through the African American Museum, I'm hoping that the President of the United States understands the role that government plays in creating or eliminating racism, of protecting the American citizens in our country, and also to the role that they play in identifying racism and segregation in this country. I am so concerned about Bannon because Bannon's history is clear. It's not what you say, Mr. President, it's what you do. To say that I'm going to eliminate racism, I'm going to make sure that we all come together. Well, how do you come together as a country when a person who has documented history of being racist, of identifying a group of people as being not a part of the American society? Mm-hmm. Why do you do that, Mr. President? And I'm looking for your leadership in this, and hopefully you learned something from going to the African American Museum. I'm glad you were able to go.
Well, it's not a bad thing that he did it. Let's talk about the things, though, when you say the things that the president can do, the actions, right? So what can the federal government do? When there's unrest, it is able to send in the troops. When there is a case that is not resolved at state levels, it can file civil rights charges. It can investigate police forces like it has done in Philadelphia and Ferguson, Missouri, and places like that, and impose orders upon them. What are the things that the federal government can do to address this, what Donald Trump calls the divide?
So this is exactly why the Congressional Black Caucus has been very strong, addressing it, writing and asking the president to talk to us. We represent 40% of African Americans around the country. We represent 80 million people in America. If you want to talk about Black America and where we are and our challenges, wouldn't you engage in that dialogue so that you not unilaterally, just by the advice of one or two people who are African American, you would truly engage yourself. And that's why when he had that conversation that was so inappropriate at the press conference, and they have since reached out.
You're talking about the conversation with April Ryan?
Yes.
Let's remind our viewers. Let's play that conversation at the press conference. April Ryan asking the president about meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus.
Am I going to include
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Hispanic
Caucus?
Well, I would. I tell you what, do you want to set up the meeting?
Do you want to set up the meeting? All right, we'll just let that go for a second. But, Congresswoman, let me ask you this. You talk about 49 members representing 80 million people. Do you not do those 80 million people a disservice by hanging on to your objection to Steve Bannon and others in the administration who have documented examples of things that would not seem to be in the service of African Americans? But you've got the president, and the president seemed to be moved at his visit to the museum today. So maybe he'll be moved by meeting with you.
One of the things that we have historically said as the Congressional Black Caucus, we're the conscience of Congress. So speaking truth to power, it is important that when we see these things and concerns we have about discrimination or about individuals that we feel are promoting policies of racism, that we call them out. Why would we be silent on that? So don't say I'm hanging on. I am doing my job as a member of Congress, as an American, as a member of the Black Caucus. We as a country have never overcome obstacles in our history unless someone speaks up and someone makes sure that we put this issue in front of us. He is our president.
Let me ask it a different way. I hear you.
Yes.
Let me ask it a different way. I'm a business and economics guy, right? And when the president had that economic advisory council, the CEO of Uber took a stand and said, I'm not going. Elon Musk from SpaceX said, I'm invited to the table. We have to have that conversation. Two very legitimate positions, but you are being invited to a table.
Yes.
And you're choosing not to go. You may be choosing not to go. That decision hasn't been made, I understand.
That decision hasn't been made, but I want you to know I made a decision to go to the inauguration. And why did I do that? Because it was a time in our history, our democracy, where we're passing power from one president to the other. I have been elected by the people, and I felt strongly that I have a seat at the table. I will participate. I will talk to any member of this administration because I want them, hopefully, to be enlightened and educated so they'll make the right decisions about America, about African Americans, about minorities. Obviously, this travel ban that the president put out that was struck down by the courts is because he did not invoke the opinion and the legal expertise that was around him so he could have hopefully done a better job initially.
Congresswoman, thank you for your passion. Thank you for bringing some time to us today and our audience.
Thank you so much.
Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence of Michigan.